Moderna and Pfizer are both mRNA vaccines. Um,
Correct.
has this kind of mRNA vaccine technology ever been injected into humans before?
Well, this is the first time, and the good news is that the results are really, really good.
Okay. But in essence, this is an experimental technology.
Well, it's a new technology, and it is proven in a very large group of clinical trials to be safe and highly effective.
Are you completely positive that this new technology is safe? I mean,
Every
how can we be sure there won't be long-term effects when these vaccines were seemingly developed so quickly and
yeah,
have only been
well,
tested for months and not years?
the speed with which it's been done is a reflection of the extraordinary advances in science, and there was no compromise of safety. But as I said before, in the history of vaccinology, you don't see effects that occur years later. Almost all of the bad effects, as rare as they are, and they are very rare, occur between 15 and 45 days from the time you get vaccinated.
Last week, Catholic bishops warned the Catholic community that they should not use the Johnson and Johnson vaccine. Can you explain why?
Well, some, not all, because there are Catholic bishops who are saying the opposite of that. And the reason is in the preparation of the Johnson and Johnson vaccine, they used a cell line that was taken from fetal tissue from years and years ago to be able to produce the vaccine.
Sorry, is that true that there is a residual DNA from an aborted baby in the Johnson and Johnson
No,
vaccine?
there's no residual DNA that gets injected into you at all. It's in the preparation of the vaccine. There is no residual human fetal DNA at all.
Ahí está. Yes! Dr. Fauci! So, first question. Which of the COVID-19 vaccines have been officially approved by the FDA?
Three of them. One from Moderna, which is the mRNA vaccine, one from Pfizer, which is another mRNA vaccine, and the other one is from J&J, Johnson and Johnson, which is a little bit different. It gives the same kind of response, but it's a little bit different. So there are three vaccines that have gotten emergency use authorization from the FDA so far. There are a couple of others that are still being tested to determine if they're safe and effective, but the three that I just mentioned have been shown in very large clinical trials involving anywhere from 30,000 to 44,000 people per trial, were shown to be not only very efficacious but quite safe.
Okay, so I asked if it was approved by the FDA, but I think that it's a different thing that an emergency use authorization than an approval. So what is the difference between an emergency use
Yeah.
authorization and an official approval by the FDA?
Yes, that's a very good question. So an emergency use authorization is based on the criteria if the benefit clearly outweighs the risk and that you get a good degree of efficacy and safety. The full licensure is when you follow it for a longer period of time and you get more information and data. I have no doubt, given how very, very efficacious all three of these are, that they will ultimately get the full authorization in the sense of what's called a biological license approval. But an emergency use authorization is really quite of an important step in the direction of getting it the official approval. So let me give you an example of how much confidence I have in the emergency use authorization. I myself got vaccinated with one of those three vaccines.
Okay, so but if the vaccines are safe and effective, why hasn't the FDA given any of them the full official approval and license?
Actually, Eugenio, that is a very good question. There isn't like they have any problem with it. It just takes logistically a long time to get the approval. So when this is such a good product that you want to get it to people as quickly as possible because it's life-saving, you give it what's called an emergency use authorization. Not that there's anything less effective in it, you just takes a long time to get the full approval, and rather than deprive people of getting a life-saving vaccine before all of the I's get dotted and the T's get crossed, they give it an emergency use authorization based on a lot of solid data that it works.
What is the medical and legal responsibility of the companies that are making the vaccines? What happens if secondary effects are seen, let's say, in 5 or 10 years? Can I sue the manufacturer of the product if it hurts me, or if there's long-term effects years down the road?
You know, there is a fund that allows the compensation for injury, but I have to tell you, Eugenio, that it's very, very, very unlikely that you're going to have an effect 5 or 10 years down the pike. The reason we say that is that we have decades of experience in the field of vaccinology, and virtually all of the effects, if they even occur, and they're very rare, occur within 15 to 45 days following the dose. Each of the companies had to wait 60 days before they were able to release it to be given to the people, because the most of the bad effects, if they do occur, and I say it's extremely rare, they almost all occur between 15 and 45 days.